This video will describe how to build a phrase builder rule. And let's look at the phrase builder for English noun phrases. It's right here. It has 4 layers. This first layer is used for number and polarity. The second layer is for participant tracking. You can see quite a few rows, about 20 rows. The third layer is for proximity. And then one more layer. This one is for specifically for God. Sometimes we need the before God, like these men honor the true God in Daniel 3:28. So this is what a phrase builder rule looks like. We're going to build another one. I want to mention though, the phrase builder rule for verbs is generally much more complex. Here's the phrase builder rule for English verb phrases. And you can see it has 16 layers and many rows in each layer. But for this video, let's keep it simple, and we'll build another phrase builder rule for English noun phrases. But first I want to look at this verse. Joshua 2:3. So the king of Jericho sent a soldier to Rahab's house. That soldier said to Rahab, "Bring to me the men who came to you. Those men entered your house, but they are spies. They came to Jericho to look at our land." If we look here at the history of this word, it was inserted by the phrase builder rule for noun phrases, layer 2, row 5. If we look at this word, the word it was inserted by the same rule, layer 2, row 1. If we look at this word, it was inserted by the same rule, layer 3, row 3. If we look at, where's another one? Here's one, layer 2, row 6. If we look at this one, layer 3, row 4. So you can see this rule is very productive. It handles a lot of constructions for us. We're going to turn this rule off, and now we'll generate this verse again. Now we get, so king of Jericho sent soldier to Rahab's house. Soldier said to Rahab, "Bring to me man who came to you. Man entered your house, but they are spy. They came to Jericho to look at our land." So you can see a lot of words are missing. So let's build a new phrase builder rule for noun phrases. We'll double click there. This will be a phrase builder rule. Let's see here. So build all noun phrases. Now when working on a phrase builder rule, the first question to ask is right over here. Do you want this rule's output to select a lexical form or set a feature value? Generally, you select a lexical form, and that's done in this column here. And when you do that, here are the lexical forms. These are for nouns. We have a stem, and we have just the plural form for English nouns. But you also have current entry, delete word, and new translation. We'll see how to use these in a minute. If you select set a feature, then you have you can choose. It defaults to the first feature, number, singular, dual, trio. You can choose other features. You want to use this option when you can't choose a form because you need to look at a wider context. Actually, so far, the only time we've ever used set of features for the verb phrases in the languages of the Philippines. To choose the proper verb form for the languages here in the Philippines, you need to look at the entire sentence. There are many verb forms: actor focus perfective, actor focus imperfective, actor focus contemplative, actor focus infinitive. Then you have the same set for object focus and benefactive focus. There are many different forms of the verbs here. So there you say you set a feature, and then a subsequent rule will select the proper lexical form. So we're going to say select a lexical form, and we'll close that up again. And for our first row, let's enter the word so the king of Jericho sent a soldier. So we'll call this singular, and we'll specify the features. Singular, first mention, and it's good to put an example. The king sent a soldier. And we need to add another column. We'll say add column, And then let's move this. We're going to call it prenominal. I'll tell you why in a minute. Move column. Yes. Right there. Okay. So for singular first mention, we want to insert the word and we'll select the singular form, the stem. So this will produce a and then the stem for singular first mention. This column name, we keep these simple. You can have prenominal, postnominal. If you have multiple columns before the noun, we would recommend prenominal 1, prenominal 2, prenominal 3, etc. And then these column names are the tags that you will use in your phrase structure rule for noun phrases. And then you'll position this tag appropriately. So this word will be inserted into the text with the tag of prenominal. In fact, let's do that now. Let's give this a name. I'm just going to name this generic. We'll do this now. So King of Jericho sent a soldier to Rahab's house. And if we look at the word it's inserted by that rule that we just built, layer 1 called generic, row 1. So let's add some more rows. Let's put in the word the. We want the king. And if we look at king, the participant tracking is routine. So let's add a row. We're going to call this singular routine. And then we specify the features, singular and routine. The king. And the king, we want the stem, it's singular, and we'll put in the word the. Let's add another rule, another row. Bring to me the men who came to you, the men. So let's add another row. We'll call it plural, routine. And we specify the features, plural, pakul, routine. Okay, when it's plural, we need to select the plural form from the lexicon. And the prenominal will again be the. We need that. That soldier said to Rahab. Okay, if we look at the word, if we look here, the participant tracking is routine. Proximity is distal. So let's add a row for distal. We'll add row. Let's say singular, distal. And we set the features, singular, distal. It's good to enter an example. Okay, when it's singular, we select the stem, and we want the prenominal to be the word that. We need, those men entered your house. So if we look at the word for man, if we double click here, it'll find it in the text for us. Okay, participant tracking is routine, proximity is distal, and number is plural. So let's add another row. Let's say plural, distal, and we set our features. And when it's plural, we select the plural form, and we want the word those. So let's try this out again. Now if we generate this verse, so the king of the Jericho sent a soldier to the Rahab's house. Okay, we don't want these rows applying to proper nouns. That soldier said to the Rahab, Bring to me the men who came to you. Those men entered your house, but they are spy. They came to the Jericho to look at our land. Okay, let's modify this rule so it doesn't apply to proper nouns. One solution would be to say, this isn't a good solution, but I'm doing this for a reason. I want to show you something. Let's say proper nouns. If a noun is proper, and here we can say Rahab, Jericho, etc. We'll say choose the stem. It's proper to have, it's possible to have a proper name in the plural form. There are many Steves in that organization. This isn't a good solution, but I want to show you something in a minute. So we're going to say proper nouns, use a stem, and we'll leave the cell blank. So that should fix that problem. So the king of Jericho sent a soldier to Rahab's house. That soldier said to Rahab, "Bring to me the men who came to you. Those men entered your house, but they are spy. They came to Jericho to look at our land." Okay, that's fine, except for this word spy. If we look at it, its participant tracking is generic, and the number is plural. So let's add another row. We'll say generic participant tracking. And also plural. Plural, and participant tracking is generic. They are spies. And for this, it's plural, so we'll select the plural form, and again we'll leave this cell blank. And now if we generate this, but they are spies. So now this verse is okay. I want to show you something. This solution to have a row for proper nouns and then leave this blank, that's not a very good solution. As I said, a proper noun can be in the plural form, and there are places in the Bible, like in Exodus, it says, it was this Moses and this Aaron that God talked to. So we can have demonstratives with proper nouns. I want to turn this row off. To edit this row, I'm going to double click on it, and first we see the name. I'm going to type off in capital letters so we can see it. And there's no on-off checkbox for this, but we can effectively turn it off, like I mentioned in an earlier video. Turn this structure off. So now, this structure will never match anywhere in the Bible. This feature value, that's something we added. It never occurs in the semantic representations. So now this structure will never apply. And this row is off. A better way to handle this is for these rows should not apply to proper nouns. They should only apply to common nouns. So let's specify that in here. This will be a common noun. And this will be a common noun. And same with this. Actually, this one is okay. We can say that Moses and that Aaron. So we'll leave those alone. So the king of Jericho sent a soldier to Rahab's house. That soldier said to Rahab, "Bring to me the men who came to you. Those men entered your house, but they are spies. They came to Jericho to look at our land." That's a better solution. Again, this is a very simple phrase builder rule. When you're building a phrase builder rule for a real language project, it will be considerably more complex. But that's the general idea. And I also want to mention, in general, you put your more generic rows up at the top, and they get more specific. When these phrase builder rules are executed, if there are multiple layers, you can specify a structure up here in the left-hand corner. Same as for a table spellout rule. We won't do one now. But you can specify a structure up here, and when a layer is about to be executed, so let's say, so the software is translating, it's working on a noun, and it comes to this phrase builder rule for nouns. So it will start at the last layer. It will check the upper left corner and see if that structure matches the noun that's being translated. If it doesn't, then it will move to the next earlier structure, and again check the upper left corner. Eventually, it should find a layer in the row that in the rule that matches. Once it finds a layer that matches, then it will check each row. And if a row matches, it will remember that row, but it will continue checking the remaining rows. And whichever row is the last one to match, the last row to match the noun that's being translated, that row will be used. And once it finds a row in a layer, it won't check any earlier layers. If it goes to an entire layer and all the rows in that layer and no rows match, then it will go to the next preceding layer. But once it finds a row that matches, it'll finish that layer and then use the last row in that layer, and whatever that row says, that's what the rule will do. Now, let's look at this. Okay, we can add more columns. Post-nominal. And we can put words in here. We could have post-nominal 1, post-nominal 2. These column names are the tags that will be used in the phrase structure rules to position this text. So, let's go ahead and we'll save this. Attention, you've just entered a new constituent into noun phrases called post-nominal. Do you want to edit your first noun phrase structure rule? I'll say yes. So there it is, post-nominal. It's up at the top. I already had pre-nominal in here. That's right here. Post-nominal, we'll drag this down. It needs to go somewhere after the noun. We'll put it in this group, in the post-nominal. So there it is down at the end. English doesn't really need this, but I'm going to put it right there. So now it's at the beginning of the post-head modifiers. So that's how you use phrase builder rules.